advisor to African American outreach for Donald J. Trump. She is one of the most respected and accomplished African American women of our time. She made it her life's ambition to become a great political aide, and since has used her platform to help enrich and empower the lives of others. Her life story epitomizes transformation and the power of perseverance, hope, and faith. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a round of applause for the glamorous, the gorgeous, and the gifted, Omarosa Manigault Newman!
African-American abolitionist and women's rights activist Sojourner Truth caused a riot outside the Women's Rights Convention in Ohio. These were her words. Ain't I a woman? Look at me, look at my arms. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns. No man could heed me. Ain't I a woman? If the first woman God ever created was strong enough to turn this world upside down all alone, then we ought to be strong enough to do it all over again. Yeah. Now, much obliged to you hearing me today. Now this here Omarosa has a lot more else to say. Now let me give class of 2019 a little religion. You are entitled to your own opinions, but what you're not entitled to is your own facts. I am a strong black Republican woman. Are you done? Free speech and dissent is good. It is what America was founded upon. I want you to raise your voice. I want you to speak out and march and peacefully protest when your leaders are not on the right course. That is what makes America unique. Here in America, we have the right to disagree. But when disagreements become darkness, disrespect, and disdain for one another, then we are on the wrong path. So today, class of 2019, I want to offer you all a challenge. To go high in a world that loves to go low. Be the light in every room you walk into. We need your light, graduates, now more than ever. I need you to shine and illuminate a better way forward as great men and women do in times of distress. So my test for you all today is to not give into the darkness, the pettiness, yes, the pettiness, and the disrespect, but instead be the light everywhere you go. Be a spark of hope, of inspiration, of change, wherever you go. Now, I've been asked by President Frederick to kind of share with you my testimony. I call it my testimony because I believe it brings glory to God. Amen? Amen. I grew up in a small town called Youngstown, Ohio, in a predominantly black neighborhood where guns, gangs, and violence flooded my neighborhood. Westlake Terrace, better known as the Projects. One of my earliest memories was playing in the playground with my cousin Glenise. It was a regular afternoon when all of a sudden we see a man run past the swings with a gun in his hand. Seconds later, we see an officer chase right after him. My mom runs outside, grabbing my cousin and I, pushing us inside the unit. Get down! She says, you better fucking get down. Moments later, we hear multiple gunshots. Then silence. I look out the window and I see a black man lying on the floor, lifeless. Moments like this had become very common in Westlake. Very common. My mother, Teresa Walker, was an 18-year-old high school dropout. She dropped out of high school when she found out she was pregnant with my older brother, Jack Jr. My mother did something that was extremely unheard of during the 60s. She decided that she wasn't going to get married to my dad until she was ready. She married my dad 2 years after I was born, but she instilled in me, as she continues to instill in me, great strength. And that you can live by your own rules. Now my father, Jack Manigault, he was a race car driver. He drives truck, not a race. But he was extremely militant. And he was determined to take us out the projects. Whether it was through hard work or working 3 jobs or education, whatever it was, he was determined. My father wanted to instill in us that we had a sense of identity. So rather than reading us Dr. Seuss or the fables, he read us The Native Sons and The Invisible Man. Let me tell you something. My dad had one of the ashiest hands alive. Like somehow the cocoa butter made it everywhere else except his hands. He would come home with so many calluses in his hands. So many. I was 7 years old when my father was murdered. I lost my father because of senseless violence. My father got into an argument with a longtime friend over land. The argument quickly escalated into a fight, and my father was badly beaten and left for dead. He was found and taken to the hospital, where he lingered for 2 weeks. 2 weeks before he passed away from his injuries. I remember going to the wake, walking up to his casket with my cousin Glenise by my side. "He's sleeping," she says. "No, he's dead. Mommy said he's in heaven now." At 7 years old, I understood the finality of death. And that I was never going to see my father ever again. Because of what? Senseless thug violence. 30 years later, I lost my brother to gun violence, in which cops would call a black-on-black crime. In almost the same exact way as I lost my father. Senseless violence. 30 years later, after my father died, so began this lifestyle of government intrusion. My family started relying so much on the government. Public aid, Section 8 housing and food stamps, whatever it was, my family wanted it. This lifestyle of the government, Democrats, will give you enough, but really it's never enough. And I stand here before you as a Republican to tell you, and let me tell you something, a lot of people say, "Oh, Nee, okay, what a sellout you are, because you wouldn't be where you are right now if it wasn't for Section 8 housing, if it wasn't for food stamps, if it wasn't for Medicaid." And I say, nope, I am where I am in spite of those programs. If I was strong enough to move myself out of the government plantation, I'm saying this to tell you, yes, I was angry for the majority of my upbringing. Yes, I was angry that I grew up in a fatherless home. And yes, I was angry that my family depended so much on the government. But quickly, anger turned into hurt when I lost both the men I loved in my life. But let me tell you something. In 1984, I heard Reverend Jesse Jackson preach. Let me tell you something. I caught the Holy Ghost. You know what that means? I caught the Holy Ghost. I swear to you. These were his words. I remember like it was yesterday. He said, I may be poor, but I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be uneducated, but I am somebody because I am black, I am beautiful, and I am proud. That's when I realized the only way I was going to make it out the projects was through hard work and perseverance. That was the only way to make it out. Woo! Take my torch! Sorry. Me too. So I went on and worked in corporate America for 5 years. My mother couldn't afford to send me to college, so I worked. I then went on to Central State University and got my bachelor's degree. 4 years later, I was the first college graduate in my family. Y'all better clap it up, that's it. I then left the corporate world, got involved in public policy. I didn't know what that was. So here I was, from a citizen on the sideline to a citizen on the front lines, representing liberty. Yes, so I went back to school, right here at Howard University, and got my doctorate in mass communication. I then later went on to work in the White House for Bill Clinton. Yes, Bill Clinton. But it wasn't until the first season of The Apprentice. You know that show? You're fired. Hosted by Donald Trump, that launched my career. I did get fired by Donald Trump 4 times. But we can't go talk about that, okay? Trump and I had a symbiotic relationship. Let me tell you, I gave him ratings. He gave me, a woman of color, opportunity. Multiple opportunities. He hired me to work in the White House as the director of African American outreach. Yup, I was the leader. I felt like at that time it was a call to duty. Let me tell you, I felt like I was representing my country. I wasn't representing him. As the first African American in the White House working for Trump, let me tell you something. I saw things, I heard things that made me extremely uncomfortable. So supposedly, there was a tape going around with Trump using the N-word. The N-word, you heard me, nigga. The N-word. So you know me being Omarosa, I went sniffing. And I talk more about it in my new book, Unhinged. I'm sorry, it's on Amazon Prime yet. You know us black folks. We don't work that fast. So, I started recording every conversation when I was in the White House. Oh, Trump's in the Situation Room. Oh, okay, say less. Oh, Trump's in the basement. Oh, okay, recording. Conversation in the White House. After I resigned, Trump and his administration said I got fired. Let's get something straight. I did not get fired. I resigned. You guys don't believe me after the 4th time I got fired, but I resigned. After I resigned, Trump and the administration called me a dog. Publicly, Trump called me a dog. Now let me, do I look like a dog? No, okay, because Trump called me a dog. Do I look like a dog? Let me.
No.
Somebody let Donald Trump know. I have a very unique opportunity to speak about it right now, and I say it in my new book. I demographics are changing here in America. The urban and black community, there are lies being told. Don't believe the media. And let me tell you something, as a black Republican, I am beyond tired of being called a coon, a house nigga, and a Nazi sympathizer, and an Uncle Tom, who, by the way, was a hero. So thank you very much. Oh, you didn't know that, huh? Yeah. As a Democrat who walked away from the Democrat Party, I'm considered to be an anomaly. I'm considered to be an anomaly when the Democratic Party bought us slavery, the KKK, the welfare system, and Jim Crow laws, yet I'm considered to be the anomaly. 96% of blacks are still voting Democrats. How? 8.6 is the African American unemployment rate. The lowest ever recorded. Why isn't that message getting out to the black community? Huh? Oh, I'll tell you why. Because they don't want minorities, they don't want blacks to be independent. We saw that with the State of the Union address, when the Black Democratic Caucus sat down when they announced that the black unemployment rate was low, but stood right up when Obama was in office for more food stamps. Greedy sales. You would think that the black leaders of America want real progress. No, they don't. Maxine Waters, let's talk about her. My black sisters, always ranting about racism this, racism that, racism this, never talking about the real positive progress that's happening right here in America. She lives in a $6 million house. She's made a lot of progress while the blacks are suffering right here in America. She's made a lot of money. Now, don't get me wrong, I love money. Okay, this is a capitalist country right here. All I'm saying is that she's involved in a race business. It is all business, just like the Jews are involved in the Holocaust business. Yeah, I said it. I know it sounds harsh, but it is the truth. It is the truth, and what it comes down to is that America needs new leaders. And let me tell you something, President Frederick, I'm mad at you. I'm mad that you didn't invite me to come speak to this generation a little bit earlier before Kanye West announced that he's running for president. You know we're in trouble when Kanye West is. Do you know what that means? Let me tell you what that means. That means that the House of Presidency is so diminished that even a caveman could do it. Listen to the caveman. Lord Jesus, Kanye West running for president. Oh my God, get the holy water. I don't know what we need. Kanye West. That is a joy. Woo. Someone asked me the other day, what does the American dream mean to you? And I say what the American dream means to me is simply opportunity. I like to say in my business card and in my newest book, that America doesn't owe you an opportunity. America is the opportunity. That is the mindset we need to make this country beyond great again. So ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I want to announce right here, first time, that I am running for the up-and-coming 2020 election. I believe that America is in real shit, okay? And I believe that the solution starts right here, in Howard, in you guys, the values. It is time for us, for we the people, to run towards the challenge of our day. Let me tell you, President Trump's version of America was a divided one, pitting us against each other based on our religion, our social status, and our backgrounds. But I'm here to tell you that I am Omarosa Manigault, and I want to run for President of the United States. Will you run with me. Yes, she does. Will you run with me? Over Winfield. Yes, I am running for liberty. I am running for freedom. I am running for you. Run with me. You better run with me. Vote for me so I can ensure that the American dream rolls on, baby. Yes. God bless you. God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Long before there was ever a you, talking to you, or me, or anyone. One small village. There lived a beautiful witch doctor. She was known for her beautiful golden hair and her wit as sharp as a Sicilian. Her name is Jackie. She lived in this tiny pueblo where she took care of everyone. And I mean everyone. I mean Maria, Gordito, Selena, Stephanie, Fulanito, el vecino loco. Tienes que tener cuidado con ese vecino loco, eh? And 12 barking perritos. Every morning, she would concoct a gigantic breakfast for her whole village, un poquito de huevos revueltos, jamón y queso. And when anyone got sick, she would heal them with this charm. Sana, colita de rana. They'll wonder. The best thing about her was her ability to charm people with her smile and her ability to dance. She once did this dance where she did 101 turns in a row, kind of like this. Can you see why they never wanted her to leave? Conyo. But she was young and ready to explore the world. So, on her 17th birthday, she packed up a suitcase and left her little village in the Amazon rainforest. She took a little burrito sabanero to the far, far north, near the Caribbean Sea. She traveled to Metropolis, where crime, mischief ran amok. A city of amber and gold, of magic and mystery, and the best, in the entire world. A city known as Caracas.
Yes!
Caracas. Don't underestimate Caracas. It was a jewel among cities. After 60 days of weary travel, ay, qué rico. Ay, yo quiero dos. Ay, qué calor. Ay, qué pena.
Oye, linda, bien hermosa.
She finally made it! Oh. Now you can imagine, this was her first time ever leaving home. Oh, but she was wise. She did not get distracted by the bonchinche of the city. No, 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 no. She came here for one sole purpose. She wanted an education. See, Jackie wanted to improve her abilities to make medicine, potions that could change the world. Elixirs that could help everyone. So, with Molechin in hand, she knocked on the doors of El Universidad Central and studied pharmacy. Tuition. I got it. Even a powerful witch doctor like her needed some income. So she cleaned offices in the city. Suddenly, a rush of wind hit her face. Infused with the smell sweeter than all the perfumes of Arabia. Oh, silhouetted by the sunlight flooding through the office window, Jackie sees a mysterious man walking towards her. His name is Fernando. He was a traveler from a great West City known as Maracaibo. He was alluring, a jack of all trades, and single. People far and wide knew of his legendary feats. Oh, like when he fought 40 things for 40 nights on guard. Or when he swam all 7 seas. Wow. His most famous tale. Yendo 2 meses sin usar el digi-digi. El digi-digi, ya tú sabes. How do you do it? I don't know. I can go a day without that. But what he was really, really known for was his beautiful voice. Cuckoo-cuckoo. 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 Paloma, ya no llores. He was intelligent, charismatic, and quite compassionate. They met and instantly fell in love. Like magic, and they let their love flourish, with him asking the most important question anyone could ever ask another person: will you marry me? Ding dong, woo! Together, they became a powerful couple, embarking on an aventura more packed than Aventura Mall itself. Christmas, because you forgot to buy your parents their gifts. Come on, people, it's already 20th. This is where the story really begins. Oh my gosh, it was her first day of college.
You got 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Please, let me finish. I promise I have a point. Thank you. It was her final year of college. She needed a thesis to graduate. She worked day and night, brewing potion after potion after potion tirelessly. Oh, Fernando would fetch the ingredients that were too far, too rare, or too dangerous to find. They were about to give up when suddenly dos huevos. Okay, una lata de leche condensada, sí. Uy, qué rico. Un poquito de ambrosia, ¿tú crees? Sí. Esa es la ambrosia. Okay, just a tiny bit. Not too much like last time. Tiny bit. Just un poquito. Un tiki. ¡Carajo! Why? She had created something so incredible. It would change her life forever. A potion of everlasting youth. Now, this was not any ordinary medicina that you buy at Walgreens. No. This was the real. Uy, ya me gusta esto. More effective than Viva Puru. She had created a beautiful. El viento was just the wind. It was just the wind. Just the wind. They had tried to keep things on the wraps, but in a city as large as this one, where there's a crack, hay una rata. It was a dark and sticky night. Walking home from work. Ay, cuidadito. Sí, perdón. Perdóname. ¿Qué crees que? They were cornered. In an alley. By asesinos. Assassins. A la una, a la dos, a la tres. Give us the potion, they barked at them, with machetes pointed at their throats. Mal de ojo. Please, just let us go. Don't you see I'm with child? For Jackie had twins on the way. Did I tell you that she had twins? I thought I told you she had twins. I mean, but after the that's what happened. Los ladrones did not care. They inched closer and closer, ready to pounce like a puma. When Fernando pulled a smoke bomb from his cape and dropped it, engulfing the smoke all through the alley, like a Cuban cigar. They escaped. Barely. You see, Caracas is a vicious city, to say the least. But Fernando and Jackie were not any ordinary people. Oh! Ay, Dios mío. What happened if 2 new challenges came their way? Permiso. Push! Empuje! Push! She had 2 new miracles to worry about. Okay. Boy. And the girl, Two croqueticas. Happiness. Happiness like a niño en Navidad. Oh. And hope. Hope for her new future as a mama. Watching her kids play escondidas en la casa. Ay, piñatas at their first birthday party. Pero la realidad, it hit her face. You see, Caracas is ranked the most dangerous city in the world, with the highest number of kidnappings, shootings, and murders. How could she keep hope safe in Caracas? So they fled west, leaving the city of Caracas behind forever. Vámonos. Traveling through swamps. So putrid. This was Fernando, by the way. So thick. Desert so dry. Que solazo. They traveled farther and longer than taking the I-95 north from downtown Miami to Boca Raton. I feel you there. Dios me salve. También. Are you guys okay? You guys are okay. You guys are okay. Then stop crying. Encountering giant tarantulas! Chupacaras! Or worse, la suegra. El flaquito tiene que comer. But after three long years of traveling on foot, Jackie and Fernando grew tired. They sat by the sea in the dirt, con las patas sucias en un café con leche, completely defeated. Out of nowhere, they heard a whisper. Oye! Fernando looked around. Huh. Then he heard it again. Oye! They didn't see nobody up here. They looked up and saw something sitting in the top of the palm tree. No era un coco, it was a chicken. Or a rooster. Oye, papi. Oye, mami. ¿Qué están haciendo aquí? I'm sorry. Are you talking to us? Sí, claro, por supuesto. Estoy preguntando qué están haciendo aquí. We have been fleeing for 3 years now, with no breaks, no empanadas, no nothing but the wilderness. Y Ay, Alía, here, que me están tratando de cortar la cabeza. Ya tú sabes con todos los santeros ahí. Whatever, me largo. I was flying back to Cuba, bro, when this gust of wind came out of nowhere like magic. And now I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I'm here. I'm sorry, but where is it that you said that you were from? Hi, Alea! Miami? Tú no sabes Miami. ¿Qué te pasa a ti? In America. Lande, coño, ¿cómo se dice? How you say opportunity, donde los sueños se hacen realidad. Lande dream, Dreamlandia. What Dreamlandia? How do we get there? Tomo un bote hasta Aruba, desde ahí, el JetBlue hasta Miami Airport. ¿Necesita ticket? Te lo vendo por 5,600 bolívares. Which, by the way, is worth absolutely nothing with the inflation going on. Yes. Thank you. Gracias, gracias. And just like that, they were off on another aventura. This time they were going...
4 minutes.
America, land of dreams. That's what we were told. We were told it was prosperous, secure, a place for a brighter future and a better life, and endless possibilities. You know, in ese bote to Aruba, it wasn't easy. I remember. It was quite stormy. I mean, the babies never stopped crying. There was little food or water. The winds were battering the sails, the waves threatening to swallow us whole. But all throughout that trip, all Fernando would say is, shh, shh, shh. In America, there's no hunger. McDonald's as far as the eye could see, and KFC. In America, people are nicest in the world. In America, you don't have to wait 6 hours in line to buy 3 tomates for family. Thanks to God, we are going to America. And with their toddlers hunched close, they would laugh out of joy that their future was finally secure. Faster than a magic carpet ride, we were on that JetBlue whizzing through the air. In the land of clouds. I remember looking out the window and telling them, ¿Estamos volando? We're flying? We landed in this beautiful city named Miami. It was funny, I thought I wasn't going to fit in, but then you realize everyone spoke Spanish in Miami. I mean, qué coincidencia que todos hablan mi idioma. I mean, what the heck? I remember when we got to the airport, Fernando pointed to the American flag there with tears dripping down his face and onto his shirts. I'll never forget those words. We are here! In the land of dreams, we have finally made it to America. And ever since then, we have been model citizens, following the law, paying taxes, learning English, going to school, working despite all the risks for 18 years now. We have been American, living here as Americans are American.
Sorry, buddy. Your time is
No,
up.
sorry, you don't understand. I
Sorry,
still need
you
more
have to
time.
come with
You
me.
don't understand. No, you cannot send us back. We cannot go back. Please, my mother, my sister, one of them just graduated high school. She doesn't even speak Spanish. She won't survive there, literally. Do you know what they do to people like us? Do you know how many people are dying? Please, please, I need your help. My family's worked so hard to survive here. We have sacrificed so much. Please, please, just represent us. Represent my family. No, please, please, no, please, please, please. We have been detained here 101 nights. 101 nights. Why? No information, no nada. I haven't seen my family in 101 nights. Please, please. My family is my everything. My family is my home. We are the hope for America.
100.
We smell the blood of Christian men. Our old nose deceives us not. People, for the first time in a lot. So many of you. We hardly know what to do. What seems to be the matter? Lost in these woods of many 100 disasters? Oh, how very bad for you! So many things can go askew. Yes. Be weary. The tales are many and frightful. There are creatures here which are big and spiteful. Yes, we would hate to see our new friends made into snacks. We will help you find your way. Perhaps. Our bridge could safeguard you home. We only ask you for a very small loan. But first, let us introduce ourselves. We are Wartsnar, the troll, not elf. We allow passage to those who earn passage. Oh, but fret not, we won't demand anything too lavish. We accept all gifts of blood and sacrifice. Speaking of gifts, let's see if you've got any mice. What? No gifts? Oh, no, that cannot be. That would mean we would have to take a good old sniff. And you would not like what we sniff. We have been known to be a bit greedy when we take our whiffs. The holy mouth harp. Is this used for torture? Is that it? Sheesh. No. Oh my God. A dingle hopper. No way. This will do. What is this? What does it do? It blows kisses! How disgusting. Interesting gifts. But you all can't pass just yet. We have only just met. We haven't had company in quite some time. For you to leave now would be a crime. We only see the occasional rat or deer, then feast on them. If we're lucky, a mouse ear. Oh, but that won't happen with you all. Perhaps we will tell you our tale, and then free you from our trap. Long ago, the great Jatoon reigns free, pillaging,
burning and mangling from sea to sea. Blood was theirs to take, no people to stir up a quake. There were bones to break and death to make. But on the night of the blood moon, the human face set out to slay the great Jatoon. One by one, they tore off our heads. They named us Troll and left us in shreds. However, they made one grave mistake. They left one alive behind in their wake. He brooded in his hate and knew that one day, when the human face were quiet and tucked away, he would hold their limbs in his mouth with grace and taste revenge drip down his troll face. Oh my, we are so sorry. We get so dramatic whenever we tell that story. Usually we don't get to tell many stories. Usually we would have eaten you by now. Oh, no, we didn't mean that. We're so sorry. We're not very good at this job these days. I'm no monster. Fuck it. It's just me. Fucking Wartsnar the shitty troll. I hate that word. It's so offensive. Like, really, what is that? Is that a type of cheese you all started using as a slur? Like, oh, wow, big, scary, hairy thing. You know what that looks like? Cheese. I don't want to eat any of you. You humans all taste like shit anyway. Don't get me wrong. I love me some shit. I prefer it from a direct source. And I love me some nice roast turkey with a side of fungus, just like Mom used to make. The truth is, I'm lonely. I don't have any friends. These are my friends. You all passed by and we had to do that whole routine because it's our job. We're supposed to bully you into giving us your stuff or eat you. I just got too overwhelmed because I haven't seen people in such a long time, and I've been managing this bridge for 800 years, and I feel like I'm losing my touch. I mean, not even the deer are scared of me anymore. It's like I can hear them audibly sigh every time I Here we go again. And I swear to God, I feel like they willingly let me eat them because they're just that tired of my bullshit already. And they death as a sweet release. You know how embarrassing that is? We're supposed to be terrifying. It's a family thing. I mean, my brother always said I was a sad excuse for a troll. And I always thought he was just being a douchebag because that was his name and all. And helping, but I feel like maybe he was right. Maybe I need to switch jobs. I mean, I was good at the riddles, so it drove everyone crazy, but that was my thing. Like, hey, why do we say amen and not women, huh? Any of you? It's because we sing hymns, not hers. That's not even a riddle. Douchebag is right. This is him on the left. There's my mother, Ragnarbot. They say I look like her. Bless her holy blood ball. There's my father, Kankelsore. He was eaten by farmers for using their goats as toothpicks. There's my lard and pus. His favorite. Not like around here. All we've got here are the scraps of the forest. Maybe I should get out and move, like he did. Sorry, that happens. Fee, fi, fo, bum, scratch my bum, but please no son. The sun should be coming up soon. You know what happens to us when the sun comes up, right? We explode, or we turn to stone. The fun part is, you don't know which one it'll be until it's happening. Keeps it interesting. I saw my cousin Gautspar drink a little too much deer snot once. There he went, out into the sunlight, confident nothing would happen to him, and just like that, we all had some Gautspar gut on our faces. Didn't even take half a second. Oh, and then there's my aunt, Festerpuss. Didn't notice the sun creep up on her while she was tending to her fungus garden. Hardened up like a rock, made of weeding. So we're all condemned to a life of night crawling and low-lifing in a never-ending battle over territory with raccoons. One of them stole my favorite rock once. A rock! Are you telling me that raccoon couldn't find his own goddamn rock? That was a straight-up hate crime! Look at me, swimming in my spilt milk. Just get a new job, right? I mean, I've always loved music, but I could just hear my brother now. You're a shit-eating son of a bitch, you know that, right? Oh my God. Hey! Get your inbred dirty little rat paws away from my shit! What do you even do, huh? What's your thing? Is it eating shit? That's what it looks like from here, you worthless shit-eating son of a bitch! Somewhere else, asshole! You see what I mean? Oh, me talking about food, and you all must be so hungry. So sorry. Let me see what I have lying around the old pot of gold. Here you go. I made it myself. Deer hide sauteed in raccoon blood. What's wrong? Oh, don't be mad, you guys. I'll go catch you something fresh. Stay right here. I'll be right back, I promise. What's not? You stupid shit! I told you to mind the bridge while I was ransacking the North Raccoon Fort. If I go out there and that bridge is crawling with those little... Oh! Ooh, what have we here? Oh, I knew today would be a great day when I was picking the worms out of my ears earlier. I knew. All right. Hand over your gold, or so help me, I will peel the flesh off of you and keep you alive long enough so you can watch. Or maybe I'll eat you anyway. It's been so long since I've had me some human too. Let's have some roast human toe. Sorry, everyone. I'm the better looking one. Doesn't understand that you can have human friends and not eat them. Shish! No wonder Mother never let you keep any of your toy pets. They never stood a chance to friends. Never had them. Never needed them. Keeping them's more fun. Besides, who needs friends when you have a shit for brains brother? Never a dull day with you being a worthless, fungus-eating lowlife. I've got plenty of material to work with. Leave me alone! Fungus is delicious! Glad to. Can't stand the smell of your pathetic loneliness. I'm gonna take a nap. Don't bother me, and don't forget to wipe the loser off your feet when you get back. Such a waste. Oh, what a snake's earlobe. Yeah, they have earlobes. I know. I found out the hard way, too. Don't call a snake an asshole behind their back. They'll hear you and tear out your favorite wart. Oh, anyway, I managed to get you guys some fresh steer eyeball with a little salt and a touch of garlic. What's wrong? Fine, I'll eat it myself. Okay, maybe I can't feed you guys, but maybe I can sing to you. Oh, I know you guys like music. I heard one of yours singing it down by the river when I was 100 years old. Then he saw me watching him, got scared, and fell into the water, so I took his guitar. It was really sad. Anyway, I've been practicing. Here it goes. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. Never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Woo. Oh, you little shit, get back here! Get you stupid little shit! Get back! My rug! He took my rug! Sunshine will kill you, you dumb shit! Quit that throat shaking, stop crying over rocks, and do your job, will you? Oh, wait, I forgot. You can't. I'm not scary enough. I'm not good at killing people, God. You're such a lazy shit! Get rid of these flesh bags, or I will! Oh, why do you have to say those things? I don't want to do this job. I wasn't meant to do this job. I just want to be like them and play some music. Oh, little white goddess. Mushy's hurt, Daddy. Wants to go and play with his little friends, does he? I can't believe I got stuck with you for a brother. Mommy worked so hard to get us where we are now. And do you want to throw all of that away? For them? For music? God, no wonder the raccoons mess with you so bad. You're a shit-eating son of a bitch. Go ahead and leave. See if I can. Don't say this! I can't believe you. I them the other day. You know what? I don't have to take this. Maybe I will leave. Okay, yeah? Didn't I just go set them straight for you? All I've done since Mummy Dearest passed was make sure you were safe and keep her promise. She said to me, douchebag, you make sure you guard not only this bridge with all your might, you make sure you guard Ward Snar too. And I've done it, haven't I? Go ahead and leave. See if I care. You ungrateful little troll! You did not just, I knew you were terrible, but I didn't think you would go that far. Take me, I'm blowing this possible bridge. Okay, good. Leave. Maybe the raccoons will take you in as their own, cause you look like one. Oh, what, you ugly douche!
Enough already, you two.
Mommy?
Unfortunately, I can hear your whining all the way from the great beyond. Can I rest my horns in peace, please?
I can't live with him, Ma! He's unbearable! What's unbearable is your singing and your human-loving bullshit.
Douchebag, you leave your little brother alone. Snar, roll some horns, please.
Horns. Oh, you see? Come on. I'm just messing with you. It's just my way of saying what? That you're my little brother and you're not terrible? Wow! World-class apology! I'm sorry! I love you. You do? You mean you don't wish I would be thrown out into the sun? You don't think I'm a bad troll? Hey, you all! Go ahead and pass before I change my mind. I mean, you could have picked another line of work, but I love you anyway, Wardy. You feeling a little warm, Wardy? I'm not used to this feeling. It's called love, douche. It's called love. Wardy. Yeah? The sun! My hands! I can't move my hands! What do we do? You can sing your stupid sunshine song! No! Yes!
Hello, sorry, I'm late. Welcome to the first day of your training session. Actually, better yet, welcome to the headquarters of the U.S. branch of death. That's bold, isn't it? What a name.
the U.S. branch of death. They really went there. You see, I always ask if I can say USBD instead, but every year they tell me if I say it like that, I'll still have to explain what it stands for. So, clearly, I think it's ridiculous, the U.S. branch of death. What do you think when you hear that? Want to know what I thought? The U.S. is still fucking bothering me while I'm dead? But I guess it's better than hearing the Icelandic branch of death, because then you know, immediately, you're out of work. Speaking of work, you're all dead. You're all dead. You're all dead. Wow, no screaming, really. You're a special crowd. You'll be very useful here. Now, I know thinking of yourself as dead isn't ideal, unless you chose to die, but think of this moment. Think of this moment, this career, as your next purpose. See, the U.S. branch of death is like a secret workforce. Well, it is a secret workforce that hopefully all of you will be a part of. It was created to profit off of the blood of the dead, as if the blood of the living wasn't enough. Either way, in this training, I will inform you of what to expect out of the job, the benefits of the job, and the formalities that come along with it. I never introduced myself. Does everyone have something to take notes? My name is Cecilia. That's all you get, Cecilia. That's all I get, because I don't remember my last name. I'm 24 years old. I've been in the business of death for 30 years, and I'm aware that makes absolutely no fucking sense. I died. I died when I was 24. I have been the chief executive for 28 years, and that's the longest anyone has ever served. Write that down. I'm just kidding. You don't need to write that down. This is my last day. Don't write that down either. Listen, you all, and this is a hard thing to explain, so bear with me. You all will be responsible for killing people. Let me rephrase that. Your job will be to kill people. Okay. That sounded better in my head. People die. You get used to it in this business, but I shouldn't say we kill them. We don't kill them. We have a choice to take people. Okay. Wow, it's painful to say. I mean, I have to be honest. I have to. I hate this part of the job, explaining what we do. It's always so jarring, especially after you just died, I'm sure, but the blood of the dead, they need it. We need it. This is business. It's to torture us all into submission! It's very American, doesn't it? People like you are chosen for the preliminaries each year because you're all a special breed of person. At least that's the phrase they like to use. Why is your hand up? Is it more important than what I'm saying? Lower, faster. Thank you. Now that your colleague so rudely interrupted me, he's forced me to reveal my true problem. I don't have a problem, by the way. I just like to pretend I do. There are no problems when you're dead.
Oh my God.
Let's begin. The U.S. branch of death operates in 4 sectors, levels, if you will. Write this down. That you will be assigned to, depending on what you have to offer. The first sector is natural causes. I'm falling asleep already. Natural causes. Things like heart disease, cancer, stillborn, strokes, stuff, to tell you the truth, never really interested me. You have to keep at it too long. There's lots of ugly crying. It's a disaster, and not the good kind. The second is freak accidents. In my opinion, they need a better name. Most people fall into this sector because most people don't want to feel responsible for the deaths of others, but yeah, don't want to feel responsible. No, these are things like getting hit by a bus, electrocution, falling 30 stories, asphyxiation during sex. You know, shit happens. What's your name? Joey? Shit happens, am I right? Yeah. The third sector, the most profitable, is homicides and suicides. Mass shootings tend to be the hot ticket nowadays, but that's because it's easy. Really? You're gonna use guns to your advantage? I beg you on my hands and fucking knees to challenge yourselves. But the simple fact is there's lots of blood in it. There's toddler's blood, and student's blood, and Jewish blood, and gay blood, and Latino blood, and black blood. Yeah, blood. Lots of it. And the blood is what keeps them happy, which brings me to the fourth sector. Genocides! They're a bit too complex to get into right now, but let me just say, in my 30 years here, I did work there. In the US, yes I did. Yes, I do. People who wore white hoods on the weekends when they were alive do so well in the genocide sector. So, sit with this for a moment, take it all in, it's necessary. God damn it, I haven't even heard a pencil move! The US capitalizes on the dead. Is that clear yet? That this is a business? That you all have jobs, that you're employed, that there's no paychecks, but there is a great purpose to this work. You see, when I was young and sitting in your seats, I didn't believe a word that left a man's mouth. A man sitting at a desk telling me what to do. It's not likely anymore. But he explained the job so simply, so sweetly, like we were gifting death. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Maybe we do. Sometimes I think that's the choice. And then sometimes I wonder, why am I listening to a man that was talking at me 30 years ago? I wonder what happened to him. You know, I never thought about it then. I was just ecstatic to call myself the new CEO. It's beyond me how a dead person dies here. I don't know. They've somehow avoided sharing that knowledge this whole time. 30 years, and I never questioned it until it was my last day. Speaking of last days, what about first days? You want to know how I died? I don't talk about it because it's so fucking sad, but it's funny. It's coming down the stairs from the metro, and my mom was a single mom, so I was trying to make it home in time before she fell asleep after work. And I know what you're thinking. Why was a 24-year-old still living at home? Or is that just an insecurity of mine and I'm projecting? Anyway, my mom was an alcoholic. Funny how I remember that and not my last name. I'm coming down the stairs, and I'm uncomfortable, as usual, because I had epilepsy. And when you have epilepsy, you know that when you're hot and sweaty and your thoughts are racing and you lose your hearing, it's going down. It's an aura. They call it an aura. You get an aura before you seize. So, I get to the bottom of the stairs. And at this point, the pain is penetrating my whole being. And I collapse, as if someone was trying to roll a fucking double in the middle of the sidewalk. And after shaking, like a fucking fool, I laid there for about 10 seconds before I felt warm piss come out of me and pour onto the sidewalk. Ever sat in your own piss? Anyone? Only me? I had to lay there, watching feet, feeling the grime of the sidewalk and the piss seep into my pores, waiting for someone to see me. And what's funny is, I remember the eyes the most. And I just kept thinking, I hate people. I hate people. I hate people. Just walking on by. Hey! I'm dying! But now I'm here, and I'm the CEO, and that's more than most 24-year-olds can say. You know? Where did everyone have to be? Fuck! I should be teaching something. Now, don't worry about shitting. Don't worry about sleeping. Don't even worry about fucking. These aren't needs anymore. Your body doesn't function like it used to, but you'll forget what was normal. You'll forget how satisfying it is to take a shit after a long day. I mean, you look like you take a mean shit. Surely it must mean something. You'll forget. You'll forget. It's no longer your reality. Your reality is your job. I will say, you'll start to appreciate other things. You'll start to appreciate the time it takes for someone to cross the street. You'll start to appreciate the way someone carelessly chews their food. You'll start to appreciate the wild arguments that erupt in traffic when someone has a gun in their glove box. Sometimes guns come in handy. But this appreciation will evolve into a new kind of love. Otherwise you get bored. Who the fuck wants to be bored to death when you're already dead? Your appreciation for these minute facets of the living should get creative, and it's best that they do. Once you start, you'll see. This appreciation turns into creativity, and creativity matters. It all makes sense. It takes creativity to kill a lot of people at once. Look, I did that. For those of you who can't see, wildfire! And people forgetting to rake their leaves definitely helps, but I did that. Huh. Your accomplishments look different on your last day. What was the point in all this? Oh, creativity. Creativity reaps rewards. Here are your benefits! For every 10 gallons of blood you collect, you're put into a raffle. A raffle that gives you the chance to reincarnate. Now, you don't remember your time here, you don't remember your life before, but they needed to incentivize. They do the raffle every year. They didn't even have a raffle when I came in. Imagine hearing all this and doing it for nothing, which is what I did. Does this make sense? Do you feel like you'll have a purpose because we do? Our jobs require us to be the last thing a person feels or sees or smells. We're important. Don't think about the reward, think about the work. I've been telling myself that lately, and lately, I've been thinking about the taker named Vinny, who took me. He was an unskilled motherfucker. He had just recently died himself. Clearly, or else I wouldn't have come here smelling like piss. Sometimes I blame him. But then I remember my job title, and I wouldn't want all those people blaming me. You see, being chief executive is like being bled dry. There's nothing left inside you that's even remotely human or pulsing. Which reminds me, if I could bring your attention to the screen. There are 4 stages of death. The first is pallor mortis. Exactly what it sounds like. A dead, pale person with nothing left to do. The second is Rigormortis. That's the equilibrium of body temperature and the temperature of the environment. The third is Rigormortis, the in-between, the knowing yet not knowing. It's the looking at a face and wondering if it could still move and has a chance, but the muscles are stiff, they're stuck. One wrong move, and they will break. And then there's Livermortis, which is the Earth's gravity sucking the blood to the lower regions of the body. Now, for the demonstration. Is he back there?
Yes.
Here we have Dennis, my assistant. He died at a fight club in Queens, but they transferred him here. Say hi, Dennis. Look at the body, and you see an opportunity to give it some depth. So you just...
Stop, please, please.
I should have explained. I get carried away sometimes. No, actually, this works. Okay. Say hi, Dennis. purpose for a simulated murder. Thank you, sir. Whoa, I knew you were special. I didn't know you were this special. You all passed the callousness detection test. The callousness detection test, or the CDT, is a preliminary test that records your reactions to violent behavior. And you know about the 4 sectors because you wrote them down, right? Well, we need to go to the extremes to see if you can handle the job. The CDT is actually mentioned in the handout. Can you get the handout? They didn't get the handout! Well, you would have known about the CDT is my point. But yeah, callous. What a thing to be. Anytime the word callous is said, I think of a dry, crusty callus festering at the bottom of a toe. Layers and layers of skin hardened to protect and serve. That's a callus for you. This job is a privilege. You want to know why you're here? You know, not everyone gets to come here. Excuse me. Ruben? You're done here. You can get up and go. Say bye.
Bye.
Sorry. Callous, the job. You're special. That's where I was, right? Yes. Not everyone gets to come here, and not everyone passes the CDT. You know, it always surprises the trainees how much they don't feel, but that's a good thing. That's why you're here. You're not like others. There's no emotional connection for you. People die. This is normal to you. Well, it is normal. People do die. We don't always see them. We don't always know they're dying, but they're dying, and it's thanks to you. That's your purpose. You don't realize this yet, but this job becomes personal at some point. Yet, there are formalities. You know, what we do takes strategy and thought and finesse. Let's talk about the formalities. This is another moment where I should hear an orchestra of lead on paper. Oh, it's good to be the CEO. I'm going to switch it up, though. Fuck the formalities. But I still want to hear lead on paper. The first body I ever took, was suicide. Now, each death is unique. There are things that are hard about it. There are things that are easy about it. So, the first body I ever took was suicide. Suicides tend to be tricky because they can be messy. Not always, but this one in particular was a mess. I had followed him around that morning for a long time. Too long. More than 30 minutes is dangerous. Now, I felt the need to take advantage of his bad day. I coerced him into believing his own thoughts. You're worthless. You're pathetic. You should jump off a fucking high rise. It's that simple. The body had dismembered itself once it hit the pavement, so its eyes, its head were gone. And my first thought was, good. No eyes, no head. I don't need to see him. I don't need to listen to his thoughts. But silly me. They always have those post-mortem thoughts. The thoughts are the hardest part because they're candid, no filter, like a lizard's tail when it's chopped off. It's the only thing that makes the body seem real. Now, knowing someone is human, though, is easily forgettable, so fear not. The orchestrations of people's deaths should have finesse. They must be timely. The U.S. branch of death doesn't want a bunch of fucked up employees walking around, especially their CEO. You know, it's easy to take a body, because that's really what we all are. We're all just bodies who go places and sit in chairs and do things. You know, we're all just bodies who try to call our grandmas and struggle to load luggage onto trains and wait for elevators and cry in our cars and drink milk straight out of the carton. Very simple acts, but there's a lot of beauty in them. I ignored it. I think you have to in this business, but once you're staring at yourself in another person, it's impossible to ignore. to feel human, you figure. Everyone else does too. At least for a little while. Want to know why it's my last day? Why they're asking me to resign? And what if I don't? What if I stay? What will happen to me? What will happen to me? I'll be right back. This is my supervisor. I'm the CEO and I have a fucking supervisor. Tell them. Tell them. Tell them. Fine. I will. The U.S. branch of death doesn't need the blood we've been talking about this whole time. The value in this business is in the thoughts. It's how you're all chosen when you die. Blood is the distraction. The last person I took was an hour ago. She was beaten to death, and her last thought was the same exact thought as mine. I hate people. And I knew exactly what she meant, except this time, it meant something different. So, I think the takeaway for you all to continue your success here at the U.S. branch of death is don't give a fuck about people. If that wasn't clear already. No one gave a fuck about me, and I'm fine. So kill her. For me. Do it. Do it, I dare you. Because I can't anymore. And also because she's dead already. But that's why it's my last day. Any questions?